Well, welcome to the Spartanburg County Republican Party runoff for County Council. We realize the sheriff's got an important side of this election this season, but I'm thankful that each of y'all are here. We appreciate that. We're pleased tonight to have with us Paul Abbott Jr. and Jason Lynch, two gentlemen who are both attorneys. You've made it to the home stretch. One of you will be the party winner and advance on to the general election in November. So we're good at this point. We got at least one of these guys will be there. And we're going to have to work harder than tonight to get more support going into the general election. So stay in there with me. But thank y'all both for your willingness to serve the community, and we hope that both of you will continue to make Spartanburg all it can be in the future. So thank you very much. I'm pleased to announce Amy Wood from WSPA. She graciously accepted the invitation to be here, so thank you very much for that. So we are going to try to condense everything as best we can for y'all so we can get some of the questions out, some of the answers to you, and then try to go back home and rest. So bring Amy. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It is great to be with you. We love candidates willing to run for public office and put themselves in the arena for us. So thank you, gentlemen, both of you, for doing that. And let's start things off. We're going to kind of take turns. I'm going to ask questions, and then they're going to come up and give their answers. We'll start off with Paul going first, JC second on this first question. These questions were gathered by your Republican leaders with the party, and we kind of tweaked them and worked on a list together. So this is what we have come up with. The first question, again with Paul Abbott beginning, please describe your core beliefs and what you will do to ensure the community will benefit from the decisions you make on county council, if elected.
To that question, first off, thank you for being here. Appreciate you coming out. Glad to see everyone. Core beliefs, I took that to be a political question. So, I start out with less government is better than more government. Less taxes are better than more taxes. Less regulations are better than more regulations. And transparency in government, it's your money that public bodies spend. You should be able to know where every penny of it goes. There shouldn't be any secrets or anything hidden. I also believe in getting community input, talking with people, hearing their concerns, not thinking that I know better than everybody. In fact, I'd rather talk a lot less and listen a lot more. And also when issues come up that involve say trade groups. I know we're going to get to several things about growth, but I've said before, realtors, home builders, etc. Going and talking to those people, bringing them into the conversation, and seeing what can be done voluntarily or worked out before you have to get government involved. Government should be the last thing that we go to. Let's see what we can do talking with people and working with people. I believe that small business is the backbone of the community. I think small business are the one that's going to, support your fundraisers. They're going to support your little league. They're going to be there when you need them. So basically, that's an overview of what I would call my core political principles and beliefs. Thank you.
Jason.
Good evening. Thank y'all for being here tonight. First, I just want to tell you a little bit about myself because there's been a little bit of confusion about who I am. A lot of people are trying to align me with someone who's currently on county council, but I want to tell you a little bit about my background. I was born Jason Hensler, just up the road in Rutherford, North Carolina. The first part of my life, I lived on Cannon's Campground Road. I was raised by a single mother, had a father who was abusive, an alcoholic, and a womanizer. He was not in my life for very long. My mom raised me by herself. We moved from Spartanburg, South Carolina, to Washington, D.C., to Columbia, South Carolina. While we were living in Columbia, South Carolina, a man came into my life, Al Lynch. He took me and raised me as his own. About the point that I had two parents in my family, my life changed dramatically. I grew up in a family, biologically, you were more likely to go to prison than you were to go to college. I'm the first person on either side of my biological family to finish college. I went to law school, and then I got a tax degree. I married the love of my life a couple of years out of law school. She's here in the back, giving me the evil eye. But we've got three great children. They're 15, 13, and 11. And they are the reason that I'm running for county council. I want to make sure that we are creating the type of place where they want to come back and raise their own children. Thank you.
Thank you.
Jason, you're going to go first next, so don't get too comfortable. One of the main recurring issues that many of you have told your Republican leadership about is the issue of growth and development. Spartanburg Republican leaders say the growth strategy made Spartanburg in 2022-23 the 8th fastest growing metro in the country. Last year, Spartanburg was named the 10th fastest growing metro area in the nation. Over 10,000 people a year have moved into the county. 358 infrastructure are strained, and that's putting it nicely. Is there a point at which you gentlemen would say enough is enough, or do you have a plan to address the problems that growth creates? Jason.
I just told you about my three children. I would love for them to stop growing right where they are, but it's not going to happen. Spartanburg County is not going to stop growing either. People have figured out what makes this community so great. I mean, we got ample resources, great green spaces, low cost of living, fantastic public schools. We've got the sorts of things that people like. They're going to continue to move. We need to figure out how we're going to grow thoughtfully and deliberately. We don't need to be throwing up huge subdivisions with as many houses as can be squeezed onto a small piece of property. We need to make sure that we're growing smart. There are plenty of retail spaces that have been abandoned that would be great places for apartment homes. There are places in downtown Spartanburg that I drive by every day on my way to work that are abandoned. Those are the type places that we need to redevelop. Spartanburg has a lot to offer, and people are going to continue to come here. We're not going to stop the growth, so we've got to figure out how to grow smartly. Thank you.
Paul.
Well, first off, I divide growth into three different areas. One is industrial growth. I haven't heard, a lot of talk about we need to stop industries from coming in necessarily. I agree with that. We need to keep providing jobs. We need to keep growing. And we've got a lot of industrial parks that are already set aside for industry with all of the infrastructure that they need. So I say we continue to court industry, bring good industry here, good paying jobs here. Let's just keep them in those industrial parks where we've already set aside an area for them. And then there's commercial. I haven't had a lot of interest or complaints really in, we've got too much commercial growth going on. And I agree with that. We need to continue courting and bringing in retail commercial growth. The issue is when it gets to residential growth, and that's when everybody gets interested, okay? I am at the point that we need to stop some of the type developments that we've been seeing. I know that we need entry-level homes for people. We need mid-level size homes for people, and we need some executive size homes for people. So we need some growth. And if you look at our district, it's kind of not divided, I won't say that, but there's areas, closest to the city of Spartanburg that have already been developed, okay? And so those areas are not looking to see a 200, 500 home development come in. But then when you get out to the Mayos, the Packlets, the Calpins areas, those are areas where there's land still available, and that's where developers are going to be looking. And we want some growth. We need to continue with some residential growth, I'm for that, but we need something better than what we've been seeing across the county as a whole. We need quality development. And I've made several proposals to throw out. We need larger lots. We need possibly some brick or stone on some of the homes. We need mandatory landscape. I use this every time I make a speech. Bella Casa neighborhood over in Kansas Campground, near the school right over there in Luke. Not one tree, not one flower, not one bush there. We can't have that. The residents that have spoken with me, we don't want that. So again, I'm for industrial growth, I'm for commercial growth, I'm for the right kind of residential growth. Let's don't let our side of town look like some of the other areas across the city. Thank you.
All right, so I'm going to jump ahead because the questions were a little bit out of order. County Council, if you all know, appoints members to the County Planning Commission, which reviews the plans on subdivisions, since we're talking about that. Two-part question. Who do you think, if you were elected, should serve on this planning commission? And do you think lot size requirements need to be reconsidered or made larger?
I'm sorry, I didn't catch the second half of that.
Do you think lot sizes should be reconsidered and made larger? Along with, who do you think should serve on the planning commission?
Right. Well, I think I just answered the lot sizes. That's what,
Yeah.
one of the recommendations that I would, throw out to be placed, in the regulations is larger lot sizes. The planning commission, I know several, more than one or two people on that commission. They're good people. Their job is to review plans according to what regulations the county council has passed. So it starts with county council passing regulations. Then they go over to the planning commission. The planning commission reviews those proposed subdivisions against the regulations that the county has passed. So if they meet those regulations, which are mostly math regulations, how many setback feet and how many homes per lot, that kind of thing. So if they meet that, they pretty much then make a recommendation back to council to approve it. So what I'm saying is it starts with county council and it ends with county council. The planning commission is not necessarily the bad guys. They are a volunteer group. They don't get paid. They get appointed by county council members. There's one from, one from each district, and then 3 at-large members. So, and I've said before, if you're interested in a position, and look to see where what your interest is and when the expiration date of the previous term may be, and let people know. I mean, I'm not for throwing people off of the planning commission, but when those positions come open, and I looked a day or so ago, within the next 3 years, every single member of the planning commission's term will expire. Now, of course, they can be reappointed, and a lot of them have, but vacancies occur there. So if you're interested in that board or any board, I've said I want to develop a bank, if you will, of a list of people who are willing to serve on those boards and commissions. That's the way I've said before too. You do not have to be an elected official to serve in government or to affect decisions that are being made. You get appointed to one of those boards and commissions, and you make decisions even before it gets to the county council there. So again, the planning commission, they're good people. They're a volunteer board, and they work with what council gives them. So if we want something changed, then council needs to rewrite some regulations and requirements for subdivisions or whatever other issue that comes up. Thank you.
So as Paul said, the planning commission, those are all volunteers. One problem is people do not want to step up for service. So you end up with people who may have preconceived notions about what they want when they come onto these commissions. I think we need to make sure that what is coming before planning meets all the required rules, that no one has a conflict of interest, and the county council doesn't have any conflict of interest when voting on these. As most of y'all know, Spartanburg doesn't have any zoning. That's an issue, and something that I think we as a community need to think more and more about. Do we want to institute some zoning regulations countywide? If we're unhappy about the type of development that is happening, then we need to hear that from members of the community. It can't just be Facebook posts. It can't just be a public comment. We need to actually think about truly putting in zoning. This is one of the only places that I've ever seen. We do business all over the country. Almost everyone has zoning requirements. We don't have them here in Spartanburg. We got land use development guidelines. And quite frankly, that may not be enough to keep up with the growth that we're seeing. I know no one wants to be told what they can and cannot do with their property, but we need to make sure that we are maintaining the type of community that all of us are so proud to call home. Thank you.
All right, Jason, you're going to start this one. Have you considered strategies like impact fees that can be used to slow growth? The fees can be used to help pay for infrastructure. Do you think they are good ideas? Would you support them?
Short answer is yes, I would support them. Once again, as I was saying, I work for a company that does business all over the country. And even if you meet the approval guidelines, if there's something that you're wanting to do that needs an approval at the county level, typically any of those approvals come with conditions. And those conditions could be improving the existing infrastructure, which is something I think about as we look at these planned communities that I don't think are very well planned. They're just popping up left and right along our 2-lane highways. Those shouldn't be automatically approved. I think we need to think about what sort of conditions we can attach to them before we grant building permits or grading permits. We need to think more carefully about how we're growing. Impact fees aren't the only solution. It may not be the perfect solution, but it's something that we ought to at least consider.
I would only consider impact fees as a very last resort. I think that there are other tools we can use that I've mentioned, larger lots, requiring larger lot sizes, things like that. The problem with an impact fee, it can be unlimited. I know I've thrown these numbers out. Let's just say we put an impact fee of $1,000. Well, I know there's some communities been in the news. I think Fountain Inn, Rock Hill or York, if I'm not mistaken, they're up to $30,000. So, and an impact fee goes directly on top of the cost of the home. The builder, the developer, they don't pay those fees. You pay them when you buy that house. So if it's a $250,000 house and a municipality or whatever has a $30,000 impact fee, now it's a $280,000 house. Again, that for the most part is always passed through. So I think that is something that would increase the price of a home. And I'm not sure that that's the best way to do it. So again, I would consider that as a last resort, but I would not start off with that. Thank you.
Paul, this question will go to you. How do you feel about moratoriums on building, not issuing permits for some specified period of months to give the community time to build out on infrastructure?
Well, I think I would use that as the last resort also. When you just stop everything, that's a pretty extreme measure. I think you work with the builders, you work with the realtors, you let them know what the community will not accept and what will be acceptable. Because again, we in the rural areas need some residential development. We need good quality residential development. So I don't think a moratorium would be the answer. Again, if nobody wants to cooperate and they just want to continue to do what the market will bear, it could get to that point. So I would place that in the same categories with an impact fee. I would consider it. I would use it as a last resort. Thank you.
I would not consider a moratorium on growth. As I said, the growth's coming whether we want it or not. We need to figure out how to make sure the growth works for our community. Spartanburg County is very diverse. There are areas that need the growth. There are areas that don't need the growth at all. And I think having a countywide moratorium is trying to have a one-size-fits-all solution, which is not what we need. We need to consider projects as they come before us, whether they be residential or commercial or industrial. And we need to assess each one on a case-by-case basis. I don't like blanket rules, and I definitely don't like blanket rules that say no more growth.
Thank you.
All right, another big topic that came up over and over again is the fee in lieu of tax agreements. They've nurtured business development in the community over the years, starting, as you'll remember, back at BMW. Is it time, and Jason, this will go to you first, to take another look at tax abatement, or do you believe these fee in lieu of tax agreements are essential to attract business?
So fee in lieu of tax agreement is not a one-size-fits-all solution. Everyone is not granted one. You have to meet certain requirements in order to be offered one. You've got to agree to a certain amount of development. You've got to agree to bring a certain number of jobs. And quite frankly, I think for the last 20 or 30 years, we've been focusing on bringing a lot of blue-collar jobs. And we really needed that when the mills left the upstate of South Carolina. Those were the jobs that we needed to replace first. What I think that we've ignored over the last 20 or 30 years is white-collar jobs. We've got plenty of room for growth downtown. As I mentioned earlier, I drive downtown to work every day, and I could not tell you the number of abandoned buildings that I pass by. There's no reason that we cannot be redeveloping those businesses in downtown and creating a strong city center, which is going to increase the growth or increase our lives. A rising tide lifts all boats. If we have a strong city center, that is going to make the entire county stronger. So I do not think we should abandon fee lows. But I think it's time to start looking at different industries to offer those people. Thank you.
I'm not in favor of doing away with all FELOs either. I think they can be a useful tool. I think they have been used to bring a strong industrial base here to Spartanburg County. But I'm of the opinion now that we need to be much more choosy, much more picky. Let's look at each one, and instead of asking just how much are you spending or how much are you investing and how many jobs you're bringing, I've got a list of about 8 or 10 other questions that we ask. And one of the main ones is, of the jobs that you're bringing, let's say industry or says we're bringing 50 jobs, okay? That sounds good. But how many of those are you bringing from shutting down a plant in Florida or Chicago or somewhere and bringing all your top staff into here, and they fill up all the executive jobs, and our citizens get the temp jobs. So, in a situation like that, I would not be in favor of a fee low. As Jason mentioned, there's a building in Calpin's Southern Fine Blanking, I believe. I knew it as Progress Lighting. It is an eyesore. It has kudzu and poison ivy growing all over it. It's falling down. Would I try to use a fee low to get that building back up? Absolutely. I'd be leading the charge. But Felos, just to be giving out felos, no. And the other thing is a big misconception that with a felo, you're not paying any taxes. That they are paying, it's not called a tax because it's called a fee, but they are paying money, significant amounts of money there. I know it's confusing when you go on the assessor's website and you look up their tax report and it says 0000. Technically, that's correct. They're not paying taxes, but they are paying fees. I'm in favor of putting that amount of fee on those assessor reports so you know how much they're paying there. So again, feelers can be good, but I think now we're at the point where we've got to ask more questions about those. And I would really try to steer those more to redeveloping properties that are sitting there vacant eyesores. So again, I wouldn't rule them all out, but I will use them very, very selectively.
Staying on felos, to land big companies and create jobs, how do you level the playing field for other existing business competitors in Spartanburg who don't get the tax breaks? Paul, you're first.
It was how you level.
How you level the playing field for existing local businesses who don't get the big tax breaks?
Okay. Well, again, felos are limited to only industrial plants. They are not given out to retail or commercial. So, and again, they've got to have these requirements this is state law, I believe, above $2.5 million. So if the investment is less than $2.5 million, I don't think there's anything you can do as far as a felo agreement there. There are also for retail and commercial type businesses, there's something called a special rate tax credit, something like that, that you can use to give to those people. So it depends on whether it's industrial, commercial, retail. And I'm all in favor of treating small local businesses just as good as we do the national and international businesses are coming here. As I've said before, small businesses are the backbone of the community, and we have got to, again, let's figure out a way to help them just as much as the big ones within state law and regulations and things that, that kind of keep us from doing some things that we like to. But absolutely, let's keep the tax base low for everybody. And then when we can help and redevelop some properties, I know there's credits for redevelopment. There are other things that can be done besides just a fee loan. So I'm for using all that. Let's help small businesses just as much as we do large businesses. Thank you.
Thank you.
So the term that Paul was looking for was a special source revenue credit. And those, unlike FELOs, can be granted for 30 years. FELOs are limited to 20. Special source resource credit can be can extend to 30. As Paul said, those can go to other types of businesses. But that is not helping the business who is already here and already operating. Those go to new businesses who are looking to bring new investment to South Carolina and to Spartanburg County. What we need to do for the existing businesses is lower the property tax in general. We've got many folks moving here. We've got a lot of industry moving here, but for some reason, our property taxes continue to go up. And that leads me to believe that we're not spending and budgeting properly. And I've got a business background. I look at budgets every single day. And I think what we need to do is go line item by line item and assess the county budget and make sure that we're spending properly on every single item. And if we're not, we need to get it under control. And if we get our taxes under control, that benefits all of us and can lead to lower property taxes. And that is how you put everyone on a level playing field.
We're going to get into a little bit about communication. Okay, there are monthly meetings for county council, and usually there's a full docket presented on the regular. Many citizens want to know and want to participate and told the Republican Party leadership that they think communication is lacking between county council and the taxpaying citizen. What will you do if elected to help the taxpayers understand issues before you vote on each project? Jason?
864-316-7210. I'll repeat it, 864-316-7210. That's my cell phone number. The way that you make sure people are informed on where you are, and you make sure that you're accessible, and if you're accessible, you become accountable. I want accessible, and if you're accessible, you become accountable. I want everyone to know that I'm here to listen to your concerns, and I'm going to try to help you address your concerns. I'm not going to promise you that I can solve every one of your problems, but I will listen and I will be empathetic. A question has come up, and Amy may be getting to this in a little bit. There was a question about the three and why County Council does not address those comments. And it comes down to state law, FOIA. County Council can only address what is on the agenda. So if someone in that 3-minute comment period brings up something that is not on the agenda, you cannot legally discuss it. If you do, you are putting the county at risk. The way to do it is to meet before county council meetings, make sure that you are bringing your concern to county council members so that those items can be properly placed on the agenda so that they can be discussed. I'm going to leave you with one more thing. 864-316-7210. If you want to talk to me, I'm accessible. Call me anytime. I typically have my cell phone with me. I'll answer it unless I'm in a meeting or if it's after 9 o'clock, because we go to bed early at the Lynch household. Thank you.
Neighborhoods, you're gonna see me out at the local restaurants, you're gonna see me at Ingles and Publix. Speak to me anytime. You're gonna see me at Ingles and Publix. Speak to me anytime. As far as having known the county business, I refer people, I said, first start at the website. You can go on there and you can find out really more information than you might want to know. People have been surprised at that. People have been surprised that the county council appoints 28 boards or commissions. That's the way to get involved. Get on those. Also, as far as the 3-minute speaking time that county council has, I agree you can't discuss that. But my proposal has been, if you come up to speak and you've got your 3 minutes and you ask a legitimate question, a question that can be answered by the county, then within 10 to 14 days, the county should get back to you. Not discuss it there. Like I said, it would be a violation of the agenda and the FOIA rules. But not just listen to you and let it pass over their head. Okay? Now, if you get up and speak and you just want to make statements for 3 minutes, you got that right also. But there's nothing there that the county needs to come back and do. Or if you get up and ask a off-the-wall question, or, where's my tax money going? It can't answer that. If you ask, where's my road money tax going? Or where is this 1 cent sales tax going? That's the question that we can get back to you and get answered. So that's my proposal is, continue to come up and speak. And I've also said they allot 30 minutes. If there's only 3 or 4 people there to speak, if they need to, give them 5 minutes. Take the 30 minutes and divide it into the 3 people who speak or 6 people who speak, or however that works. So I'm all for the public showing up, making their comments, and sometimes a question or an issue pops up. The agenda has to be set like 2 weeks in advance. So if a issue that you have pops up within those 2 weeks, to get it on the agenda, you've got to wait until the next month. And I don't think that works in every case. So again, come to the county council, make your position known. If you have a specific question,